As I said, that was my actually like the sixth book that I wrote. So my first books, I was really trying to imitate an author that I really admire, Nick Hornby. I love his writing, high fidelity. I have like the whole book underlined. I should probably see if it holds up. I'm sure it has to hold up, right? But that's not who I am. I'm not like a middle-aged British man. And so it didn't go really well when I was trying to tell stories that I felt like fit with that, because be, I wanted my books to be in conversation with his books. And then I was like, why am I doing that? Like, I can be a fan forever, but that doesn't have to be like, do you know what I mean? So Hot Dog Girl was the first time I said, I'm going to write one last book, because I had put at that point 5 trunked manuscripts as a lot of hours of writing and revising. So I said, I'm going to do one more book, and I'm going to write a book that sounds like me. That's exactly what I want. Um, and I'm going to be brave and make it about, she is a young bi girl, and I'm going to actually put more of myself in here. So I did, and that was a book that kind of like took off. So when I developed her, a lot of it came from, I spent a lot of time working as an Easter bunny. So I could relate. Yeah. So most Easter bunnies, like most mall Easter bunnies, are girls because the costumes are very small. So yeah, that I was behind, and I wasn't a glamorous bunny. Like, I wasn't at a mall with a throne. I worked at like a really dingy garden center, and it was a little bit of like a Donnie Darko vibe. My paws were very full of dirt, and I'd be like trying to keep my head from falling off while I like shook a child's hand. So my time in the bunny suit was really what inspired uh having a costume character. And then one day I was on a gondola at like a Six Flags kind of place, and they had a princess dancing, and she was like it was like a princess and like Scooby-Doo or whatever. They had some characters, and I thought this would be such a great place to have a summer job. What would be the worst one? If you wanted to be the princess, what would be like the worst position you could get? And I was like, I'm going to put a vegetarian in a hot dog suit. So from there, you start thinking about, well, what kind of person ends up being a vegetarian in a hot dog suit? And you just kind of spiral out from there, where I was like, well, she's definitely very awkward. And her hair is always going to be frizzy from wearing the suit. And things, she's going to have a lot of good things, but they're all going to go a little bit wrong. And so that's really how that's how she came to be. And then I just poured all of my awkwardness into it. I'm still not a very visual person. For me, it's all about like vibes and feels. And a lot of the physical descriptions come into, I could tell you everything that my characters eat for breakfast. And there's this line, Stephen King in his like on writing book says, you should know the color of the lint in their pocket. I could tell you all that. Until revisions, I couldn't tell you what they look like. My editor is always like, okay, well, the cover artist is going to want to know, do they have hair? What color is it? And because I don't work, like, my brain doesn't ever pick up on that. It's kind of like in one ear out the other, even when I'm reading someone else's book. Um, the kind of visual side of that doesn't really hit me. It's more the senses. So when I'm thinking about, I want to set something in an amusement park, I'm not thinking about what an amusement park looks like. I'm thinking about what is the feel when you walk in? What is, what is that like hot, sticky, everything's like a little bit dirty, but also really magical. And it's, it smells like fried food and maybe a little bit of beer and some cotton candy. And so I think because I'm not visual, my other senses are, I really draw on my other senses to make the picture. And then it somehow just really comes together. Like when I was developing Sealy, and I was thinking about like first her major vibes, which is that, she is very solid. She is very uh she is like the rock, and Lou is like, just kind of like a firework explode, like a misfire going everywhere, and she's kind of like the fire extinguisher. So for me, it was like, okay, what feels steady? What are some steady things? What makes me, when I'm thinking about characteristics, what feels steady to me, and like someone who can sit quietly and draw to me is such a calming presence. So I was like, she's going to draw. So for sure, that's what she's going to do. And then we're going to have her um, leave little bits of herself on Lou. So she's going to draw on Lou's sneaker so that Lou has this feeling of stability when she's feeling lost. And it's going to be on her shoe because Celie grounds her. And some of it doesn't, it's not until after, because I think so much of writing happens in your subconscious. So some of the times it's not like a deliberate thing. And then I'll have a reader point it out and be like, that was so like next level that you did that. And I'm like, yeah, it was like that wasn't it? And then I'm like, oh my gosh, where did that came from, like the ether. So I'll build out her playlist. I will think about that, and then I'll kind of go from there. And I remember, the girls who always changed their hair color and how magical it was to sit in the bathroom and you have like the smell of the bleach and like the Kool-Aid or Manic Panic or whatever they're using to change the colors, and like what those moments feel like. And then what it would feel like to lay next to her. What is her skin feeling against Lou's skin, even when it's just a casual sleepover. So moments like that, especially through the lens of how Lou interprets them, is how I built all of the characters.